Here we go. All right, welcome everybody to Horseshoe Indianapolis. It is Indiana Derby Day, and we are here. Mike Gandolfo, Louis Rabeau. We're here to help you pick a couple winners today. Louis, was this our fourth or fifth year coming up here?
It's fourth consecutive, yes.
Fourth consecutive year coming up here and highlighting this awesome day at Horseshoe Indianapolis.
Yeah, well, Shelbyville, Indiana on a Saturday. Why not?
I mean, you got up here yesterday, though, man. You got to be part of the show yesterday.
Well, part of the show yesterday.
How was it?
That's fine. That was good. That was good being up here.
Yeah.
Loving people up here.
All right. And get your
easy spots of work. How about that?
They actually put Louis on TV. Not where we just stream him.
Rachel was down in the dumps about how she was looking. And so they were just like, just sit next to Louis. You'll feel a lot better. Worked great. It was just fantastic.
All right. If you're new to our show, the whole premise here is we're going to talk about horse racing on a way that hopefully engages you, makes you want to wager a little bit. Maybe you learn a little bit. We want to draw you in to the sport, but we want to have a lot of fun doing it. That's who we are. You can find us on our Twitter page is probably the best way to go, right? If you want to catch us live
at Horse Happy Hour,
at Horse Happy Hour.
YouTube, for sure.
Our YouTube is all of our stuff there as well.
Then they like guys like Roger in here. It's no good.
None
of this. None of this stuff. I'll tell you what.
I mean, all right. Well, Roger's here, so I feel like we can officially begin. Yeah, I got to put the sunglasses on.
Now we can handle
because the star is shining so brightly.
I should have gotten the big one. What do you think,
Louis? Talk about how we've seen this event just grow since we've been out here the last 4 years. As we sit under this awesome awning.
The awning is amazing for sure. We got a brick wall in the background. How about that? But no, there were as many people
some nice bricks
at 10:30 as there used to be for the first race.
That's probably true.
Right? I mean, we're an hour and a half before post time. That many people showed up. So that's been fantastic growth. And frankly, it's the quality of racing we'll see. For example, in the Derby, Stronghold makes a trip because that's grade 1 money in California.
That's right.
So he's running for a grade 3 here, but that's grade 1. It's a grade 1 check, and so no, it's absolutely it's turned into a great day of racing.
And I'll tell you what, man, this is also like it's when we first came out here, it wasn't on Saturday. If I remember,
on Wednesday.
It was on a Wednesday,
that's right.
And so now they're doing Saturday racing out here. They got a great field of horses. We're going to talk about them as we get moving here, and then of course this also is being our 4th time out here. It's the 4-year anniversary of Big Fudge.
It is the 4th anniversary of Big Fudge.
I mean, we got to talk.
Shout out to Big Fudge.
I'm pretty sure that's why they put us right behind the winner's circle.
We are right next to the winner's circle. If you're on your way up here or whatever.
We're Big Fudge.
We're here all day.
Shine brightly after
my waiter.
I mean, Rachel and Louis tagged me along for paddock picks. Rachel and Louis did their whole deal.
Poorly.
They said, Mike, who's going to win this race?
Who you got, Mike?
Big Fudge.
For the people.
And that's who won this thing.
Big Fudge.
All right, Lou, you want to get into some handicapping?
Yeah, let's do some handicapping.
All right, we're going to start.
By the way, 8 races today, 100K or more in the kitty.
Yeah.
A couple handicaps. You
8
get into some,
right?
8 races total. As far as between the black types and the graded stakes here. So, yeah, really, really fun day of racing. On the turf today, it is yielding, a little softer. A ton of rain yesterday. I think we're not planning on that. But we're off the turf yesterday. Boy, it was sloppy halfway through the day here yesterday. I'll stop hitting the table. And it turned into what?
What did you do 4th of July? Man, just because it used to be tradition that we would do 4th of July at my house.
We have done what you do at your house at our house.
With everybody?
So we had about 75 people at our house.
The invite.
Well, don't you still do your thing?
I did not do my thing.
I just assumed that happened.
Yeah, no, honestly.
And then I just don't get invited anymore.
That was what was weird, but they're poured at our house.
Okay. We didn't get it. Yeah.
So, which is interesting.
Well, the good news is early in the day it poured, and I was like, this is good because if something goes sideways, it's not going to catch fire because the whole place is soaked. And so, yeah,
a little bit of that.
We did about 150 large-scale fireworks on 4th of
Look
July.
at you.
Something like that. Yeah. No, we did it.
Thunder over Anchorage. Okay.
Over the cul-de-sac.
Over the cul-de-sac. There it is. All right. Well, 8 stakes races today. Of course, that the highlights, the Grade 3 Indiana Oaks and the Grade 3 Indiana Derby. And if anyone sitting around us has a question, we're happy to take questions from the audience. We love doing these live shows, so that's how we'll do it.
All right, we'll be here all day.
We're going to start with race 4, which is the 14th running of the Mary Holman George Memorial. This is a $100,000 race for fillies and mares, 3 years and older. Right off the bat, Louis, we see some very familiar names.
Yeah, hidden connection in this race here for sure. A name that we'll remember from the Chicago Stakes last year, the Azeri as well. 5-year-old mare now. did run in the Shawnee last out, the double dog dare as well. Almost ran her race against Raging Sea in the double dog dare 2 back at Keeneland. This is the 3rd in the form cycle here, so I'm imagining that Kenny McPeak is hoping this horse is going to be at her very best in this one. I have her second behind the favorite here, Loved. Agree with the morning line maker here. 7-5. Might be a little short for what I'm comfortable with, but was in that same double dog dare behind Hidden Connection. This amount of time off, though, is what Brendan Walsh does the best. Brings this horse in here under Florent Giroux. Worth noting, though, those two together over their last 15. So if you wanted to play against in the early part of the sequence, this might be it with Loved. But I do think Hidden Connection is a must include here as well. After that, I looked at Stellar Lady on the outside, the 7 horse. 15-1 on the morning line. That's a horse coming out of a run at Parks. Didn't like Parks, but gets back to a place here at Horseshoe Indianapolis where that horse was a winner, ran 3rd in the Iowa Oaks last year. So maybe get back to some of that form here, a little more comfortable with the track. Nacho Carreras picks this one up. Ricardo Santana Jr., we know that guy can ride. 15-1, love that number. I think we'll probably get closer to, say, 9 or 8-1, something like that. Still real good value here in the Georgia Memorial.
So right here we got, again, just talking about the day, the card here. Brian Hernandez Jr. up here riding. That's who's on Hidden Connection. Florent Giroux on Love. Both those horses have gone up against horses.
Mike Smith on Traverse. In this
yeah, and we haven't talked about that.
Yeah.
Ricardo Santana Jr., Fantastic Housewife on Stellar Lady. All the top riders from Churchill coming up. We're seeing horses that run against Raging Sea and Shigera. And I mean,
worth mentioning too, Traverse in this race, in the 4th race, did run really well in the slop in the Sarita Song last out behind Kathleen O. Really good field in that race as well, trying to qualify for the Molly Pitcher. Decided to run here instead in this one. Like you mentioned, picks up Mike Smith from the mouth. Should be interesting as well.
The dirt is fast. The turf is yielding, just FYI. That's what the official.
Off the turf for race 2.
Correct.
That's it. Otherwise, stakes races all on the grass today. Reminds me of when we were at Preakness Day. Took that early race off, but kept the other races on the turf this year.
All right, we're going to go on to race 6, which is the next stakes race. It's the 15th running of the Jonathan B. Schuster Memorial. It's $100,000 for 4-year-olds and up. This is a turf race. Mile on the 16th on the turf. Louis, you were really hoping that Grace Fable was, differently bred.
Listen. People who love this show, when a horse named Gray comes up and they're not related to Greydar, I die a little. A little. Not all the way, but I die a little. Not a son of Greydar. Very disappointed. However, I do have Grace Fable number 1 in my handicapping here. Comes out of a very, very good optional claimer at Churchill Downs, hoping that will transfer here. The irony, of course, that he drops in purse money from an optional claimer at Churchill Downs by $40,000 to $100,000 stakes here. But you do want to get in to the stakes when you can. 9-year-old horseman, just a cool story. We encourage you on the show, fall in love with the fillies and mares. Man, those geldings, the turf geldings especially, they run forever. You can get to know them. Grace Fable's certainly one of those horses. Ran really well last time, hoping that he'll go back-to-back. Michael Simmons' horses do that at 15%. Hopefully he'll be right there for us at the end. Master Fox Hounds is in here. Phil D'Amato bringing 2 horses. Obviously, Stronghold in the Derby as well. Antonio Fresu in to ride here. This is the kind of horse running in the kind of company, Mike, last year that, look, do you hold it against him that he ran, 13th in the Breeders' Cup Mile? I don't, for example, right? And so before that, half a length off from winning that John Henry, the grade 2 at Santa Anita as well. Good to see him here. First off that layoff, though, 21% on that angle for Phil D'Amato should be just fine. Running here, longer shot here, the 3 Money Supply, I think, is one to watch here. Jaime Torres, who we've had on the show, rides here for Joe Sharp. Ran into Ali Shiva last time. They're going to try the turf with this horse. Great angle for Joe Sharp, goes at 15% with those kind of horses. Last race on the dirt, so taking away synthetic and other kinds of races, say a maiden race, something like that. The switch happens at 22%. So I think a horse you have to include here, getting a good rider, and should be part of the equation here as well. So I landed 2, 6, and 3 in the Schuster.
As you go through your card, you're going to notice a lot of scratches in this race. The 4 Injunction, the 7 Zolo, the 10 Capuna. A lot of horses in this race were cross-entered in the 8th race as well. It's kind of interesting to enter horses in both the turf and a dirt race.
Right.
Just trying to feel.
Well, and in state company or an open company, making those kinds of decisions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what we're going to get in this one. So you got a lot of scratches. 4, 7, 10. Actually, Zolo's out of both races. And that's where we got. So you are 2, 4, and 6. Is that what you said, right?
2, 6, and 3.
2, 6, and 3. Sorry. 2, 6, and 3. Money Supply, by the way, showing pretty good.
I think about the 4 after he scratched. I think that would be a
Be
bad
bad.
job.
Yeah, that would be bad.
That would be a
Be
bad job.
Yeah, 2, 6, and 3.
Yeah.
All right.
Money Supply, an interesting runner, though. I really do think that horse got a shot.
The 7th race is the 16th running of the Snack, $100,000 guaranteed Indiana bred. So this is an all Indiana bred race here. It is a mile on the turf.
Which state's name speaks to you more, the dinner party or the snack?
I'm more of a snack guy.
You don't enjoy a dinner party, or you do?
I do. I got to be in the mood though for it.
Right.
Sure.
But snacking happens way.
I will be honest.
Especially
the dinner party. I have to host the dinner party.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, right.
If I go to someone else's, I'm kind of uncomfortable. But if I'm hosting the dinner party, I'm on.
Got it.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, more of a snack guy.
Yeah.
But I love the name dinner party.
What is your favorite snack?
Ooh, man, we were doing this the other day on the show.
And then you have a road trip snack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That you only eat on road trips.
Combos.
Man, that is got to be the
combos
favorite.
Is the go-to. Yeah. It's go-to on the road trip.
Okay.
But now that I have little kids, granola bar.
Okay.
Easy go-to, 100 calories. You just do it. Do the thing. Yeah, it's good.
All right. Well, this is the snack, and this is Indiana Breads. And we have some scratches in here as well. The 2 Jam and Justice. The 4 Cringe is out. 7 Indian Creed is out. We're going to draw in the 14 Classic Express, but VMAX and Heart of Oscar will not draw in. Where did you settle on this?
I'm getting really aggressive in this race. I'm gonna use Mollystown on top. Never hasn't routed since the Indiana Futurity last year. And if you look back, he won that race. So he won that 2-year-old race going 2 turns. It was on the dirt, but in these state-bred races, often you'll see horses switching surfaces just to get the purse money, right? Try to get a check in these races. I think Mollystown is really interesting here. Fernando de la Cruz yesterday, by the way, was absolutely in the zone, getting one of these local riders. It's a look for him to be a big part of the equation at the end of the race. We'll go to Who's Your Daddy now, another horse that's going to be switching surfaces coming off of the dirt course, but has been going 2 turns under Marcelino Pedroza Jr., another local here for Connor Murphy. Excuse me, not for Connor Murphy. This is for John Langmeyer. Excuse me. Connor Murphy, of course, neighbor of mine. How about that? Hopefully Jam and Justice runs really well up here as well. But we do get Marcelino up here, knows the track, local guy. The 2 of them have won 2 of their last 4 races here at Horseshoe Indianapolis. Hopefully we get a bit of that again with that horse in my second spot here. Taking a run is the 6 here. Rodney Prescott, another local guy, ran really well last time in the slop. Will that translate to the dirt? The real question here. Has not been a great angle for the McGovern barn. We're talking, Mike, and I'm sure you noticed this too in your handicapping, how many horses are switching surfaces to try this out. At some point, you just have to pick the horses with the most class to be on top. And then maybe the 14 drawing in Classic Express. Is this a horse coming out of a maiden win for Cowboy George Leonard, the 3rd here? Is this the horse on the turf? Evan Roman. We saw his name a lot when we were doing shows with Matt Dinnerman when he was at Golden Gate Fields. Evan made the switch to Horseshoe Indianapolis, runs a ton here, was aboard for that maiden win last time. You're not going to get 30-1 on this horse, but it might be a forgotten in the longer plays just because this horse did draw in. Pay attention to those also eligibles today. The 14 Classic Express might be a nice long shot play.
What do you think that goes off at? 18, 15-1?
Yeah, more than 15 or longer.
Yeah, that's probably about 15 to 20-1 is probably where we're going to see that horse. All right, like we mentioned before, we've got a lot of horses that scratch out the 6th to run in the 8th race, and then it is the 24th running of the Michael G. Schaefer Memorial, $100,000 race for 3-year-olds and older. This is a mile and 70 yards on the dirt. Louis, you got a pretty good field in this race.
It's very good. The mile 70 starts right out in front of us here, so if you come by, the starting gate for the mile 70 will probably be right there. Capuna is in here, the 5. War Campaign, the 4. I think those 2 are going to be the classiest here. 4-1, I can do it on the morning line. Comes out of a 91, going a mile and a 16th. Taken off the turf at Churchill Downs. A little bit shorter here, which I actually think will play really, really well here. Interesting horse in 5-star General, the 1 as well. This horse just shows up and runs well. I talked with trainer Grant Forster on Wednesday on Rabo & Co. and was really, really high on this horse. Shipping him up here to try this out. Did win an optional claimer last out at Churchill Downs. Doesn't tend to go back-to-back. Now in his 8th year of running, he's still intact, looking for a stud deal probably at the end of the year. Did run well, though, in the Knicks Go previously. Will the 2 turns be okay for him? We've seen before the Long Acres Mile, for example. Not a problem 5 for 12 lifetime at the distance. The one horse should be interesting as well. But hey, a guy who loves this track in here, Mr. Wireless, the 10.
Won that
He's
first
in there,
ever
man.
Indiana Derby we were at, right?
2 for 2 lifetime at this track, man. That's a horse I think you got to include. You got to take really seriously here as well. The 10. Look at the 11 as well. Call Me Fast coming in. Most recently ran at Churchill Downs over the 7 furlongs. It's a little bit more distance here, man. Dialed in is the sire here. Mike Smith gets them out. Fantastic race here. I think you can go any of them about 5 ways to get a win.
We have a celebrity right here.
Hey, celebrity time. How about that? Well, Jenny Reese. How about that? How many of those do you need, Jenny? I mean, like.
I know. She got it all. She's gonna take some pictures.
Yeah, Jenny Reese, friend of the show, of course. All right. There you go.
Love it, Jenny. Look, I kind of like a little bit of the 2 horse here too, with the injunction come off the win and an $80,000 claimer.
Allowance off the turf to run here. 3 wins, 12 tries on dry dirt. If there's any moisture left here on the track, we'll probably see this horse.
We're gonna take a little pause for the national.
We will pause for the national.
Whose brush and bright stars through the spikes for the hearts we watch were so gallantly streamed. And the red
We're taking a pause for the national anthem.
For the land of the free and the hope of the brave.
Riker DeWitt there with the national anthem.
Shout out to Riker DeWitt. How about that?
that
Well, Riker
awesome-
DeWitt on a Saturday.
That
Wow.
awesome looking jacket. I gotta get one of those,
He's
man.
dominating. There you
I
go.
love it.
How about that?
I mean, I did my best.
I mean, shaking hands with Eric Hallstrom. How about that? I mean, when you're dominating, you're dominating. That Riker's out there dominating.
We're in this 8th race. We are scratching the 3 Underhills tab. We're scratching the Indiana bred 6 Zolo. We're scratching the 7 Money Supply who will run that other race, the 6. The
Under the Hills tab, a big scratch in this race, actually, because would have been part of the early speed. It's going to slow this race down considerably.
Maker's Candy, the 9, will also be scratched in the 8th race. So there we go.
Yeah, I think that allows Capuna, by the way, to get the lead the way that he's going to want to here. Boy, if it plays like yesterday, Mike, that might be enough to win the race.
All right. The 9th race is the 16th running of the Ellen's Lucky Star, $100,000 guaranteed Indiana bred race here. Mile on the turf. Who's your pick in this one?
Yeah, so this is
Who's
a
your
little,
pick? Get you. Who's? Oh,
no, I saw what you did there, and I appreciate what you
the
did.
only
there.
time I ever think of it.
So this is race 9. I went to Best Cupcake, the 9 here. 5-1 here on the morning line from Michael Lauer. Is coming off the turf, first timer in an allowance race, and absolutely freaking loved it. This is a horse that's going to be pressing probably mid-pack, a little bit closer than that. Under Ashton there, the 2 of them. Win about 10% of their races here at Horseshoe. Under the Palms is in this race as well. By the way, I am trying to beat Little Jen in class here, who's in this race. We'll get to her in a second. But we'll go to Under the Palms, the 4 here. This is Kenny McPeak and Brian Hernandez. Ran at a 1 1/8 on the dirt last time. Is going to try the turf here because of that Indiana bred connection. Ran really, really well, though, at a mile and it gets to go a little bit shorter of a distance here. I think we'll be the early speed here. We'll try to get the lead, just try to beat everybody on this yielding course. Maybe it'll be a little bit difficult to make up ground here. They'll be able to push forward that way. So look for Under the Palms to get a really good ride under Brian Hernandez Jr. If he's able to rock him to sleep, maybe that'll be good enough. A little more crackiness in here as well. The 2-horse, Fourth Florent Giroux and Ian Wilkes ran in that same race as Best Cupcake last time. Not as well, so I have that horse in the 3rd spot as well. But did seem to really take well to the turf course here at Horseshoe Indianapolis. And finally, Lil Jen in class, I will have in 4th spot here. Get local top jock, frankly, Fernando de la Cruz here for Tim Eggleston. Won a race yesterday as well. This horse coming out of a sprint at 6 furlongs in a state bred in the Hoosier on the dirt, trying the turf for the first time. That's an okay angle for him, but going sprints around is not. One for his last 19. That's why I have Little Jen in class in the 4th spot.
We're going to scratch the 8 touchdown pass, which was a big scratch out of this race.
Yeah.
The 13 galoshes will draw in. 14, 15, and 16 will not draw in this race.
I was hoping touchdown pass was going to be under Yarmari Correa. My 10-1 sort of number here that was going to make the most sense. Loved the mile last time here. Was ready to go considerably more distance. Is a front runner as well. Was hoping at 10-1 we might get a price there. Not going to run it.
We're going to go a mile and 16th on the turf this time. We're going to stay on the turf for the 16th running of the Indiana General Assembly Distaff Handicap.
How do you feel about the Indiana General Assembly?
I don't think – would you think that would happen in Kentucky?
Oh, great question. What track would be the most likely?
Keeneland. Yeah, I mean, come on. All right. This is a $100,000 race for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up. Again, mile 16 on the turf. Where did you fall on this one?
This is one where I'm going to try to be real skinny. I'm going to use the 10 and the 9 here. I think actually is Miss Reed out of this race. Yeah. Oh, no, it's in here. Okay.
Yes, the scratch in this race is the 4. Paint Me Perfect.
Yeah. So Paint Me Perfect's out. Alinda Queen's in here, though. Marcelina Pedrosa Jr. for Brad Cox. The 2 of them win a ton of races together, a third of their races here at Horseshoe, 20 of their last 61 together. This horse last ran at Monmouth in the Miss Liberty, comes back into the Cox barn. His first time placing horses after races, he wins at 41%. That's enough for me to put this horse on top in this spot. I mentioned Miss Reed. I have that horse in the 3rd spot for Tommy Drury Jr. Brian Hernandez Jr. gets the mount here. Comes out of the Mint Julep at Churchill on a yielding course, ran well under Jose Ortiz. Before that, ran really well on Good Go at Keeneland in an allowance race. So this is a kind of horse that's seen both graded company and has run well in an allowance, which is more what this race stacks up to be. So the 10 and the 9 for sure. I think you got to use the 3 here and Stir Crazy. Edgar Morales gets a ride here from Mike Maker. That horse coming out of an optional claiming win and another optional claiming win. One on the slop, one on the turf. Mike knows from doing the show with me for 100 years. I just love winners. This is a horse that just wins. And so look for Stir Crazy to be part of the equation as well. 10-3-9 for me here in this race.
Which I'm guessing is another maybe a reason why you're not as high on a horse like Regal Realm, who's going off 5-1, got Frenchie aboard. It's coming out a lot of stakes races. Like we say class gonna class, but winning class, right, is what we're looking for.
Yeah, I do like that better. The horse's graded win is at Kentucky Downs. Very difficult to predict if that will translate to other tracks,
exactly.
For example, right?
Such an odd track.
I have that horse in 4th spot, to be fair to Regal Realm. I think it's a fine horse. Jonathan Thomas brings his horses off layoffs really, really well. This does seem like a softer spot. I just think there are other horses in here that are going to do more. I mean, I haven't even mentioned, for example, Fuente Obehuna, who's the 6th horse here, gets Corey Lannery for Brendan Walsh. Has run really well recently, but is over 4 this year. So I'll take the winners over the horses that are over this year.
All right, we're going to move on to the Indiana Oaks. This is a $200,000 race here. Grade 3, mile 16th on the dirt as Louis ashes his cigar all over his computer.
Not all over.
All right. You're drinking. Hey, you got a Fuente. Speaking of Fuente.
I did get a Fuente.
Yeah, you got a little Fuente.
You know what we should do? We should do oak. Yeah, and oak. No.
Okay.
That's what we do on this show.
We do. It's we'll go with that.
Are we not doing that now?
We can do okay.
We're changing up because we're on the Horseshoe stream. Is that what we're doing now?
You believe the horseshoe should be up or down? Like, are you the horseshoe? You don't want the good luck to spill out, kind of thing. All right, here we go.
Introduce this race, please.
$200,000 race. It's an Oaks. That means we're grade 3 female. Or sorry, 3-year-old females. It's a grade 3 here. Mile 16 on the dirt. Got 2 scratches here. Charlene's Dream. The 1 is out, and the 3 Just Be Quiet is also out. taking off one of those local jocks for now.
Well, and I think the big change there is I think Charlene's Dream, they were just going to try to go.
Yeah.
Right. So we do lose some of that front end speed with that scratch. But I do think probably not part of the equation as far as winning in the end. Part of setting that race for sure.
Absolutely. All right. We're going to go through the field. We're going to start with the 2-horse Chitalis. This is Grant Foster's horse. Antonio Fresio aboard. I know you like this one.
Cool partnership, too, with Mark Gladd. I think we'll see more Mark Gladd's horses starting to run in these kinds of races in the Midwest just because of the purses, right? So that'll be a fun thing to like. I love this
There's
race.
no shortage of noise around here right now.
Always going on. And so Chitalis in here, I think absolutely is an oak yes. I don't know that she's my top oak yes, but I think she's absolutely got a chance here. Coming off the left, hasn't run yet this year. Did run last on the turf. But before that, ran in the Starlet at Los Al, and of course, in that Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, obviously fought it up for that horse after she won the Chandelier at Santa Anita.
My God, music too.
Oh, he's good. And so I'll go, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, listen, anytime you got a horse that's running grade ones, multiple grade ones, and it's won a race out at Santa Anita, I think you've got to give it a shot here. Chitalis is an oak, yeah, for sure. Not going to be surprised if that horse wins this one. All right, the 4 is, I'll take mine off too. Not that I think the strength in here is, but for the listeners,
it's all good. Yeah.
Neon Icon, lightly raced, but is 2-0. Has not lost yet, including wins at Churchill Downs and at Keeneland. What do you think about Neon Icon? It's got to be an oak yes for me.
Oak yeah, for sure. And this is a progressive type, right? We see, and look, both runs over a mile, 2 turns, both at Keeneland and at Churchill. Wet Fast going 1.25 miles. We get to go a shorter distance here, and so let's make sure that we include her as well. Does run without Lasix for the first time.
Roger wants the 5 in this race. So.
But Edgar Morales picks up the mountain here as Luis Saez did not make the trip. I think though an oak yeah, definite chance here. Lightly raced, but it's not her fault. She just broke her maiden as a 3-year-old. And here we are.
All right, here's my first oak no. It's never won a race before, so. Dancing Princess for me, she's the 5 horse. She's an oak no. Yes, horse. Yep. Okay. Race 6 or horse 6 is the 3-1 Banging for Gold. Brian Hernandez Jr., Kenny McPeak trying to do what they did in Kentucky and won the Oaks and the Derby on the same day. Yep. Here in Indiana. Let's see if they can get it done. I don't love this horse.
Okay, sure.
No, so I'm gonna say oak yes.
It's oak yeah because it's Kenny McPeak, right?
Right, but I'm. Like the ones we said,
the kind of thing where we look down and we're like, not going to win, and then we look up and his horse is crossing the finish line.
I like Chitalis a whole lot more 8-1. I like Bandit Gold 3-1.
That makes sense to me. Bandit Gold did win the Martha Washington on the Kentucky Oaks Trail earlier in the year, but then it's flattened out after that. 6th in the Honeybee, 6th in the Bourbonnette Oaks at Turfway Park, 11th in that Edgewood at Churchill on the Yielding Go. Did not like the turf. Got her back on the dirt. She ran a lot better last time in the Monomoy Girl. At 1 mile and a 16th behind our Pretty Woman. No one was beating our Pretty Woman that day. So if you wanted to go on recent form, it would be on that race. For that reason, she's an oak yeah for me.
The 7 is Impel. Brad Cox, Forest Row, is a 7-5. That seems very, very short for me. But I know a lot of people love this horse. Came out of the Grade 1 Ashland, where she finished 3rd and came in 2nd in the Grade 2 8 Bells. It's got to be an oak yeah.
She's an oak yeah for sure. Connections by themselves. She is running here, not a Prairie Meadow, so obviously they made that decision as well. Ran on that 8 Bells in the slop. Didn't love the slop. It was only 1 turn. Getting back to what she does better. I think actually she did so much of the work in the Ashland that she was just overtaken by a Just FYI and a Leslie's Rose. We're both Oaks horses. We're talking about a horse that ran 3rd to those. She's obviously the class here. If she runs her race, she absolutely wins, having won at the distance with a 91 speed figure at Oklahoma.
Talking about the exotics a little bit as we go through number 8, Little Jamie, 12-1 is an oak no for me. Just putting that out there. It's got 1 win and has never been in States Company. This is a two step up
for sure. But she's interesting only because I thought she looked really good last time. And if that race is at 1 mile and a 16, she wins. Are we talking about her differently if she wins that last race because it's at 1 mile and a 16 rather than 1 mile and an 8? I don't know. I do think the move from Tyler Gaffalione to Corey Lannery is a step down, so she's an oak no.
We'll talk a little bit about the way to play the sequences today. Specifically, before we get to the Indiana Derby, mainly just because this seems like a very hard card to single anybody. So
That was for me as well. I agree.
So are you a pick 3 player today and just kind of rolling it, or what?
It's a pick 3 player, but I do like to play the pick 5 here for this day. You're right. It's not going to be cheap. I think you got to be ready for $144 kind of ticket. Yeah.
Will we be at the Indiana Derby and you'll be actively rooting against me to win my bet?
I mean, I've only done that before here, so yes. I wasn't rooting against you. I was rooting for me.
You were rooting against me. All right, you're going to move on to the 30th running of the Indiana Derby, the grade $300,000, obviously for 3-year-old horses.
Yep.
Going a mile to 16th on the dirt. We're going to scratch the 6. Sir Graylin. 6 Sir Graylin is out. We're going to start. Are we doing, let's say, who's your no or who's your yes? What are we doing? Yes. What are we? Indiana yet? I mean,
Who yes, who no,
who day?
who yay? These poor people, they're like, this
Just tell me if you like the horse or not.
Colts country. How dare you?
That's right. Emmanuel Escobar is aboard the 1-horse Wood Corpse. Right here. Is this a yes or no for you? 4 for 12 lifetime. It's coming out of the Jeff Ruby Stakes and the Rebel. Came in 3rd in the Illinois Derby. What's your take on this? I think this horse is running enough class where you got to take it seriously.
I think he's a definite hit the board candidate in this field. I do not have him as a winner. I think we're going to find out he's an allowance horse going forward. Nothing wrong with that. I think he'll run for a long time. He was bred for $5,000, so I think they'll run him for a long time. Look for Woodcourt to be more of a turfway, bouncing back and forth, different spots. But no, today he's a who? No.
Stronghold is the 2-horse winner of the Santa Anita Derby. Came in 7th in the Kentucky Derby. We mentioned it before. This might be the most disrespected Santa Anita Derby winner of all time. But really good in the Derby. Really good. Anytime you're top 10 in the Kentucky Derby, I think you got to tip your hat to a horse.
Before that, he wins at the Sunland Derby as well. So this is a horse that's won at multiple tracks. He's won at Churchill Downs. He's won at Sunland. He's won at Santa Anita. Comes back, runs in the Derby. Runs a fine race in the Derby. Makes his own path, by the way, in the Santa Anita Derby. You wanted to have a knock on him. Might be that this is too short of a race.
Yeah.
Right? That would be the knock. But, look, we're talking to Antonio Frasue, one of the best Southern California jocks, makes a trip for this race. I expect him to be closer to the pace like he was in the Sunland Derby and or in the Santa Anita Derby. With a 6-horse field here, he'll be able to run this like he's at Santa Anita, frankly. And I think he's absolutely the favorite and the one to beat here.
It's going to be interesting to see because I think there's going to be maybe 2 other horses that can compete with him for the favorite. So we'll see what happens there. Real Men Violin, Kenny McPeak, Brian Hernandez. This is their Indiana Derby. Louis shaking his head.
These are the McPeak horses that drive me crazy.
Okay.
Because these are the ones that win when I think they're not going to. They drive me absolutely crazy.
Has not won in 2024, over 4 with a 2nd place finish and a 3rd place finish. Did get 1 win as a 2-year-old.
He's a no for me. I just have to say it. He's a no for me.
Okay, there you go.
I'm taking this one. I'm taking a stand on, even though the connections say bet me.
He was his best finish.
He's 0 for 5 in these conditions. He's won 1 race in his life.
Yeah.
At some point, I just have to bet against him. Today's that day. 2nd
place finisher in the Illinois Derby, 3rd in the Texas Derby. But he's a no for Louis today. I will say he's I can't. Same reason in the Oaks race. I don't think Kenny McPeak and Brian Hernandez are going to have the same celebration they had on Derby Day in Louisville. But I can't throw them out because of that. Kitty Hawk, Fernando de la Cruz, Vicky Oliver. Here we go. Never been in stakes company. What do you think about Kitty Hawk? It's a no for me.
Kitty Hawk is a no for me as well. 1 win, and that was in a maiden. It was going the distance, mile and a 16th. That was at Churchill Downs at the highest level. So if you wanted to get excited about this horse or maybe use it as one that's going to hit the board, you would lean on the breeding. Not this time. Those horses are doing great stuff. You would lean on the jockey, Fernando de la Cruz. He's a local star. And you would hope that Vicky Oliver's horses, who usually don't run well in graded stakes, run well today.
And Foreign Patriot is the 5-horse with Steve Asmussen and Ricardo Santana Jr. here. And this is a horse who's ran in the Sunland Derby, finished 5th in that Sunland Derby. Arkansas Derby, has got the Texas Derby, but has not necessarily ran well. Did get the win, two last out at Oaklawn Park. It's got to be a no for me.
In 4 Patriots in my top 4.
Oh,
So he's my 4th horse here. I think Sir Graylin would have been my 4th horse here. But instead, I'm going with Informed Patriot, and I'm going to lean on that Bathhouse Row run at Oakland Park at 1 mile and an eighth. Is a listed stakes, but he did beat Imperial Gun. He did beat Cool's Gold, who's another horse that I think has a lot of talent. I'm going to hope that we get that form again and not what we saw last out of the Texas Derby. Frankly, behind EJ won the Cup and behind Real Men by a lip.
EJ won the Cup. It's the 7 horse. This is a horse that, I know a lot of people love. Won that Texas Derby. Came in 3rd in the Santa Anita Derby. Where are you at on this one?
Another top 4 for me. 3rd in my handicapping here. Mike Smith gets the mount here. Did make the trip to Texas as well for this race at Lone Star last time out. And so this is obviously one that they're pretty high on. 3rd in that Santa Anita Derby, right? So this is a horse that, didn't qualify for the Kentucky Derby, but they thought, you know what, let's ship him over. Doug O'Neill, run anywhere with anybody, right? Ships him over to Lone Star, wins that race. Before that, won the Turf Paradise Derby as well. So this is a horse that travels, runs well. I think you'd be crazy to leave him out of your exotics for sure. And I think a longer shot to, if you were trying to hit one of those later sequences, multi-race, could get you a lot more pay than, say, a Stronghold or Dragoon Guard.
I think that's my biggest thing is I just don't like it at the number, right? So, if this horse is 7-2 instead of 5-2, it's a little bit
I think that horse will flip with Dragoon Guard by the time we get to post time.
Okay.
I think you'll get closer to 4-1 on EJ won the Cup, which then it becomes a very bettable number.
The 8 horse is Dragoon Guard, and this is exactly what you've been. This is quintessential Indiana Derby. Brad Cox, Florentia Rowe, take a late developing 3-year-old and put him in this spot. You've got to take Dragoon Guard very seriously. Has won his last 2 races, came in 2nd in his very first race to a very good Otto the Conqueror, who I saw finish 2nd in the Maxfield on last Sunday. This is a yes for me.
And we're seeing the Arrogates pick off these 3-year-old races, right? And so this is another son of Arrogate. We saw Seize the Gray win the Preakness this year. Never gone 2 turns. That would be the knock here, right? So goes the mile shoot out at Churchill last time. It is a sloppy track for that race. Gets dry go here. Has won at Keeneland. Ran really well on debut at Churchill Downs. This horse has been amongst very good company his entire career. This is obviously a step up. He's never run against a horse like Stronghold before, but this is absolutely the kind of race, as you mentioned, that Brad Cox picks off. Florent Giroux here must include for sure.
All right, well, that is your Indiana Derby card. It is getting noisy here, so I think we're going to sign off. And listen, everybody.
Well, who you got? I guess I don't know.
Who am I going to take in the Oaks?
You going to lean on Chatalis, try to get a price?
I think I am going to lean on Chatalis.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take the shot on that. I do let maybe Neon Icon.
Yeah.
She'll look. I'm going to try to beat Impel, I think, is what.
Okay, there you go. All right.
Yeah, so it would be between those two. In the Derby, I really hope Stronghold comes out with a good performance.
But
I'm rooting for that horse.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, we're going to take off here. And thanks for listening. This has been the Horse Racing Happy Hour.